Hello, my name is Nacho Mata and I am from Malaga, Spain. I own a company that is called NG Consulting, and we are economists and lawyers helping foreign people when they want to buy and sell a property in Spain. I have decided to start these videos to try to help people who are interested about our country and that would like to have a little bit of more information about what to think, what to do, what to plan. And I hope that these videos will be of help for you. Just to tell you that I love foreigners, I like foreign languages, and I like a lot to work with my clients. I think Spain is a very special country where I have experienced that many people feel happy and they dream to have a house in our country. But on the other hand, it's also good to know how the process is, what you need to think, and to get a good help during the process. So I welcome you to see the videos, to watch the videos that we will try to make regularly, and well, any question when you have or whatever you need, we will be glad to help you. Well, today we are going to talk about a question or different questions that come to my email or to my phone. I don't want to say hundreds of times every day, but it's coming a lot of questions regarding this matter, and especially it's due to the restrictions that we have in Spain in the last weeks, especially in Andalusia, due to the COVID, and that is generating a lot of confusion and a lot of questions from clients. We want to talk, or I would like to talk about the difference between being resident in Spain, being fiscal resident in Spain, or just being registered in a registry that we call padron, which is a census. Yeah? And so the difference between these three different situations. Okay? And I will start for the last one, which is to be registered at the padron, what we call empadronamiento. When you own a property in Spain, regardless you're resident in Spain or non-resident in Spain, you are recommended to register at the town hall of the municipality where your property is located. And it is recommendable for two different reasons. First, because in some municipalities you have some benefits to be registered, to be empadronado, and these benefits can be reduction or some advantages in the way of payment of the local tax that you need to pay to that town hall. This is the famous IBI. Or you have some benefits in regards to use the public utilities like the swimming pool or any sport facilities, or maybe Spanish lessons that you can get or some municipalities offer. So for these reasons, I recommend my clients to register themselves in the padron, which is a quite easy process, yeah? And especially most of the locations here in the coast, and I guess also in all the coast in Spain, in the town hall there are people who speak English and will facilitate the process of the empadronamiento, of the registration. Yeah? Why it's also interesting to get empadronado is because for the town hall of the municipality where your property is located, it has advantages for them to register the different foreigners that own a property in Spain, that they are not tax residents in Spain, so they don't count as citizens of Spain. So as more foreigners who live in a town hall, for example, Marbella or Nerja, for those town halls are interested to count more people. Why? Because the annual budget for these town halls is related to the number of citizens who are empadronados, yeah, and also for different other circumstances. So for these two different reasons, benefits for you and benefits for the town hall, it is why we recommend our clients, or we recommend you to get empadronado. But then now we are going to talk when and where and why you should become resident in Spain. Because there are many questions, a lot of controversy if I should become resident or not. If you come to Spain to work, you become resident in Spain and therefore tax resident. Why? Because you are going to work in Spain. If you are contracted by a company and you will start to work, get a salary in Spain, you need to become resident and automatically you will be tax resident in Spain. This is the easiest case. Yeah? And but the main question is, what happens if I own a property in Spain and, for example, I am retired and I live between the two countries? Should I become resident? Am I resident or not? So this is where the main question comes. Good. So just to explain you how to get the residency, in Spain you need to apply for the residency at the police station of the municipality where you are going to live, where you own your property or where you rent your property, because you can also be resident in Spain if you rent a property for long term. For example, you live in Germany and you're contracted by a company in Madrid and they offer you a job and you also sign a rental agreement for 1 year, for 2 years. Yeah? In that case, you don't own a property, but you have a rental contract for long term and you can become resident in Spain. The law says that you have to have two requirements, either having a property, I don't say again owning a property, having a property where you live, and that you have enough funds to live in Spain. If we go to the case that someone is contracted, as you will have a labor contract, you will have salaries, you will become resident immediately. Yeah? I would also say that for citizens that come from an European country, it will be much easier. They don't need a labor permit because they can come from Germany, they can come from Sweden, they can come from France and work in Spain without any restrictions. But if we think about the case that I already own a house in Spain, an apartment, and I live between two countries. I live between Sweden and Spain. And this is where it generates a lot of questions. Why? Because should I become resident or should I not become resident? What the law says, and it's very clear, is that if you live for more or longer than 183 days per year, you will be considered by Spain as resident. This is very clear. If you live more than 183 days, you should apply for the residency. So for all the cases that you own a property in the coast of Spain and you want to live more than 6 months, I recommend you to apply for the residency, because you can be stopped, you can be checked, and found out that you live here in Spain for longer than 6 months without the residency. As I say, you can become a resident in Spain at the police station, presenting some forms and all the requirements by the police, which is a property, a document showing that you own a property or you rent a property for long term, enough funds that can be shown with certificates by your bank that prove that you have enough money in your account. It can be documents from a Spanish bank or from your bank in your country. And then if you are someone that has a property already in Spain, but preliminary you are not going to work, you need to show a private health insurance that covers your stay in Spain. Then you become resident in Spain and you get a little green card that shows that you are resident in Spain. But if you don't work in Spain, are you tax resident in Spain? Because this is a big difference. You can be resident in Spain without being tax resident. What the law says is that at the moment that you get the residence card, 6 months after, you are automatically tax resident in Spain. Why? Because you have informed Spain that you live here permanently, you have a green card, and 6 months later, by law, you are considered as a tax resident in Spain. So this is the difference. The first moment that you get the residence card, you are still non-resident for Spain, non-tax resident. But 6 months later, you are tax resident in Spain. In case you work in Spain, you will be tax resident from the first moment, as I said before. Why? Because you are here to work with a labor contract, or maybe you have started a business in Spain, so you will be tax resident from that moment. What happens with the case that you own a property in Spain, you want to move to Spain permanently, you have decided to become resident in Spain, and for example you get a pension in Sweden that you declare it in Sweden. Should I become tax resident in Spain? The law is very clear again. Do you live more than 6 months in Spain? You are tax resident in Spain. Do you have a residence card? 6 months after, for sure, you will be considered as a tax resident. And tax resident means that you need to declare in Spain all your incomes worldwide. So if you get a pension in Sweden, that pension has to be declared in Spain. If you get rental incomes from properties that you have in Germany, they have to be declared here in Spain. You have bank position, wherever, you need to declare that in Spain. So from the moment that you are tax resident in Spain, you declare all your worldwide incomes in Spain, and you need to present the annual declarations. So just to distinguish, you get resident in Spain at the moment that either you decide by yourself to become resident in Spain, or if you live in Spain for more than 6 months and you are found out by the Spanish administration that you live for more than 6 months. They can ask you, but are you resident? No, I'm not, but you must be resident. You must apply for the residency. Okay? But even if you are resident in Spain, from the first moment does not mean that you are tax resident. You are tax resident from the first moment if you work, but if you don't work, you just live here because you get your pension or because you have money, savings to live without working every day, and you can stay in Spain longer than 6 months. If you stay longer than 6 months and you have informed Spain that you want to become resident, automatically you need to declare income tax in Spain. There can be especially controls when we talk about the tax office, and of course it can be controlled by the police. Imagine that you drive a car here in Spain, and for any reason the police can control that you live in the municipality where you stay, where you normally are, and they see you. If they stop you and they find out that you live here for longer than 6 months, they can prove or ask you to confirm if you're resident or non-resident in Spain, okay? But the main issue here is tax-wise. This is the main issue, because Spain wants all people who live longer than 183 days to declare their taxes in Spain, as any country wants. So, the main control is the tax office, that they can find out that you live in Spain for longer than 3 months, longer than 6 months. For example, imagine that you decide to move to Spain for a couple of years and you bring your children to a school in Spain. That is a very big proof that you live in Spain permanently, because your children go to a school in Spain. That is very common here in the coast, where there are families from other countries that bring their children to an international school here in the coast. So the proof can be, as I say, the family having children in a school, and the other proof is where is your main source of income. And the main source of income can be a pension, if you live here and you get your pension paid in another country, for example Sweden. We go to the same rule. Do you stay longer than 6 months in Spain? Yes, you must declare your pension here in Spain. Can the tax office find out that? They can, because they have different ways to check it. Is it a big issue? Maybe we are not talking about big amounts, but they can find out that you live here for more than 6 months, and that even if you get your pension paid in Sweden, that you haven't declared it here in Spain, and they will force you, they will claim you to pay the income tax in Spain. The main proof that you're resident in Spain is having the green card. So if you have informed Spain that you want to live here permanently and you have a green card, this is the main proof. And again, to say the restrictions that are looking for to reduce the mobility, what they want to see is if you are resident in Spain. They don't want to see if you are tax resident. For them, is the main thing is, are you resident in Spain? Do you have a permanent home in Spain? Where? Just to control that mobility. If you have a residence card, and if you're stopped by the police, show your residence card. I have a house, I am resident in Fuengirola, and this is where I live. That is the main proof. I cannot guarantee if a police can consider that situation as a sanction, but in my opinion, nobody can receive a sanction if you have been stuck in Spain and cannot fly out of Spain due to the pandemic. Why? Because there is a main reason for you to be stuck, which is the complete restriction in flights, or nowadays the so little flights. So in my opinion, you cannot get a sanction if you can prove that the reason why you could not fly back to your country or vice versa is due to the pandemic. This is my opinion. So thanks a lot again, and I hope that these questions or these answers can help you a little bit, because I understand that nowadays there are a lot of questions regarding this matter. And please feel free and welcome to send me the questions you have, any comment, or whatever that you would like us to talk about in the future. Thank you very much. Bye bye.